Stay connected. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here back in Cortland County. First, I want to thank the huge number of people who came out. I don't have everyone listed. Where's my little list? Here it is. And Josh, everyone got to know and love, and of course I did. Joe Nemi, who was our representative here in the central New York out of our Syracuse office for about 10 years. Well, he just got promoted, and he's now doing government relations for SU. He promised to straighten out the basketball team. Not so good this year, yeah. But we have a great replacement for him in Josh, and I hope everyone gets to know Josh. He'll be visiting you regularly. He just started last week. Okay? Anyway, so I want to thank everybody who is here. We have Kevin Fitch, the chair of our county legislature. Very much appreciate him being here. We have Scott Steve, the mayor of Cortland, who is here, and many other elected officials. Anna Kellis is here. She came over from Ithaca, but this is her, right? This is your district. There you are. And I'll go through the list the way we have them. We're going to hear from Sharon McDougall, the Director of Community Services. Thank you, Sharon, who is here. Mark Thayer is the Director of the New York State Office of Mental Health. We have our Cortland County Legislative Clerk, Savannah Hempstead. Savannah?
Yes.
I love that name. I do. It's, when I was a kid, there were no Savannahs. There was John and Michael. Charles was always in the top 10 until about 20 years ago. I'll tell you my Chuck story. I always tell stories. So there was an uncle on my father's side named Uncle Charlie. And they wanted to name me Charles, but my mother didn't like Uncle Charlie. So they said, we'll name him Charles, but he should always be Chuck. So I was always Chuck. My mother, praise God, is 94, and she still calls me Chucky. So anyway, Savannah, it's nice you got me off on a tangent there. We have Patty Schaap, who's the Deputy Director of Cortland County Mental Health. Matthew Skojic, the Clinical Director of Cortland County Mental Health. We have Bud Rigg, the Under Sheriff of Cortland County. David Guerrera, our Deputy Police Chief here in the city of Cortland. And we have a lot of people from the Cortland County Mental Health, including Nancy Smith and Gail Spitzer. And we have a whole lot of, I'm so pleased we have so many of our elected officials here who represent this county so well. And I want to introduce them all. George Wagner, the Majority Leader. Where's George? Is he here? No? Okay, well, we thought he was here. Bo Arbin, the Minority Leader. He's here. I know that. We have County Legislators Chris Newell. Chris has been a legislator for a while. Susan Wilson. Susan, great to see you. We have Ron Van D. Thank you, Ron. We have Pat Lane. Thank you, Pat. We have Wayne Schutt. Schutt or Shoot? Schutt. Good. Thank you. We have Seth Thompson.
On your left.
Thank you, Seth. There you are. I knew you were here. I said hello to you. We have Alex Mikowski, who has part of the group Access to Independence. Wow. So now I have great staff, I do, and who is not leaving is Emily Cole. She's from Oswego, but she's been the deputy of this office for a long time, and she gets everybody on the list. So we're going to keep going. Where's Emily? Did she leave? Emily Cole right back there. Yeah. We have Mitchell Eccleston.
Over here.
Thank you, Mitch. Troy Beckwith. There you are. Yep. Okay, we have Kathy Bischoff, all from the city of Cortland. Well, a few of these are county legislators, and Troy is a city councilor. We have Julie Pastigioni. Did I say it right? Pastigioni, see. We have Chris Calabro. Did I get that right? Calabro, from Cortland County business owner. Joe Cortese, the Homer Center for the Arts. Victoria Monti, Cortland County attorney. Doug Bentley, Cortland County legislator. Lita Michelli, of Lisa Michelli, Director of Cortland County Family Services, and Wayne Schutt, who got on twice on the list. He's a very, very smart fella. Okay, so thank you all for being here, and it shows the importance of this issue. Look, we all know that mental health services have been in short supply throughout New York State and throughout the country. And COVID made it worse because the number of people who needed mental health services went up with all the changes in COVID and the isolation and everything else. Obviously, things would get worse. And so it's been my passion to get more done for mental health. And I've been able to procure lots more money for mental health services across the country and in the state of New York. And I've made sure, by the way, as I do with everything else, that our more rural areas don't get overlooked. So we have a rural set aside. And even when we did I'll get to that in a minute, when we did the money that came from the federal government to help the localities out, we made sure there was local money. So we all know and that Cortland County and rural areas throughout central New York have been on the front lines of the mental health crisis. We know how dark the height of the pandemic was, and for those struggling with mental health, it heightened anxiety, it heightened isolation, it hit our rural communities especially hard, and it hit them hard because this is not a county that has so much money that they can, when there's a problem, they just can write out a check. It's tough, and our legislators, both city and county, do a very good job of being frugal and watching the buck. But this is a service that was very, very much needed. So, the Cortland County Mental Health Department here, the building is aging, outdated, and in desperate need of upgrades right here. It lacks full access to high-speed internet. That's sort of essential these days. Making telehealth. Telehealth is a great opportunity in rural areas because you don't need to visit, you don't need to come in, but you need to adapt and you need to have the right hardware and computer stuff to do it. And so telehealth was out of reach and at times impossible. Also, lack of accessibility for those with disabilities, and most of all, space to host people who need help. Mental health, we have learned so much about mental health in the last few decades, and it is an illness like a physical illness. And now they have learned many better ways to help either cure or at least relieve people who have mental health problems. So the knowledge has expanded, but that means the demand has expanded, all for the good, because if someone is feeling much better about themselves, they're a productive citizen and they work and they pay taxes and raise a family and do all the good things that we're all supposed to do. So there's a need for money. Over 1,000 rural residents use the program offered here by Cortland Mental Health. That number is growing. Cortland Mental Health just hit a 30-year high for patients in the clinical program, and they expect another 10% increase next year. So the numbers are going up, and that is not a bad thing. That is a good thing because it means people can get treatment. So I come bearing good news. Because of the American Rescue Plan, which I was the author of, by the way, no, it's not. It's the second time I'm appearing here as Majority Leader. I've been to Cortland County scores of times. I visit every county every year, but I've been to this county more than that. Come to the graduations, come to when there was flooding, things like that. But anyway, the American Rescue Plan, which I authored as Majority Leader, Cortland County got money, as I mentioned. Our localities very much needed money during COVID because they were strapped. Tax payments were down. Our governor then, no longer the governor, wanted it all to go to the state. And I said no, because once it goes to the state, the local and the rural counties don't see any of it. And I have to be honest, if it was a Republican county and a Democratic governor, it was not as helpful. So I said, let's give the money direct, let's give half the money to the state, because it needed it, but the other half, let's give directly to the localities. And Cortland County, I believe, got $9 million, was that right? Yep. $9 million, which they designated $2 million of to help with this facility. to build a modern state-of-the-art mental health facility. And I want to salute our legislators for doing that, because it was something so needed and it's something that's often neglected. Okay, so the vacant building behind us, right here, will be transformed into one-stop shop for residents' mental health needs. Double the space of the previous facility. That's a game changer. But that's not all. Last year, there's something called CDS. That's not an illness. It's called congressionally directed spending. It used to be called earmarks. And earmarks allowed a senator or a Congress member to actually say, put a certain amount of money for this. And it was based on a very good theory. The theory was, I know more what Cortland County needs than some bureaucrat in Washington who probably comes from Nebraska or something like that. So when I direct the money, I know where it is. But there were some people who abused it, and they got rid of them for 5 years. But now they've reformed it, and I've always abided by this reform. It's all public. Remember, there was that bridge to nowhere. That's what did it in. There was a bridge that the Alaska congressman built that cost $300 million, and 12 people went over it a week. But no one knew how the money got there. So now it's all public. It cannot be used for profits, only for nonprofits and governments. And everyone has to sign their name to it. Well, as majority leader, I do very well with these earmarks. So I have placed in the upcoming budget, which we're debating right now, the end of year budget, another close to $3 million, $2.9 million. And that will be enough after the $2 million that the county has already allocated to get this done. And so I am here to tell the people of Cortland County that as long as we have an omnibus, which means a regular budget, not one of these CRs which just spends last year money, I am certain that the $3 million will be in there, and you'll be able to take this building and do just all the beautiful things that we have talked about. And so that would be $5 million to get this done. So we just have to make sure there's an omnibus, which means a budget. I think your present congressman is Congresswoman Tenney. Make sure you tell her we need an omnibus. We have to have this as bipartisan, and I think it is. And by the way, yesterday, the House Republican caucus voted to keep earmarks. So everyone likes earmarks now, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Is she still the congressman after January? Who do you then have? Molinaro. Okay, we're of different parties. I know Mark Molinaro well. He was the Dutchess County county executive. He's a very fine guy. Very fine guy. I work with him very well, so I'll be able to work with him to continue to oversee this. Yes, the redistricting, to all kinds of things. Not when you're a U.S. Senator, that doesn't matter. New York State's boundaries didn't change. But in any case, so that's the good news here. And we're going to try, here's what it would mean. This new Cortland Mental Health Center, better access to telehealth, more space for the clinic for adult day treatment and other programs, expansion to other vital mental health services for children and families. So that's what we're here for, and let me now call on our two speakers, who are, as soon as I can find the long list.
Senator Kevin Fitch.
It's Kevin Fitch will be the first speaker. Okay, our chair of our county legislature, Kevin Fitch.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the one thing that I definitely have to say for the senator is your timing is impeccable. I really appreciate it. We as legislators in our committees through HHS, we get reports constantly through mental health. And what we're seeing is the big spike in mental health crisis. This building here is going to expand what we can offer clients for mental health. And I have to say, with the legislature, Sharon McDougall, they had the vision of this, and now it's going forward. So I have only been chair for a year.
That's why he's so young looking.
Yeah. But really being able to see this actually going forward is immense. And I have to say thank you to Sharon and the legislators that have been really spearheading this building and the grant. And I definitely have to say thank you to Senator Schumer for this award. It's well needed in our county, and it will definitely be used, and we want to have you come back once it's
Great,
done.
I love that. Maybe a nice ribbon cutting. That's all. Maybe in the summer.
So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. And now the aforementioned Susan McDougal, who has done such a... Do we have... Sharon McDougal. Do we have the list of the speakers? I lost it somewhere. But Sharon McDougal, who's done a great job in spearheading this. Come up, Sharon. Yes, there we go. Sharon, for the press, is the Director of Community Services in the Cortland County Mental Health Department.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. We're so excited. And thank you so much. Senator Schumer is here, everyone. It's amazing, right? So as far as I'm concerned,
As
Chuck,
my daughters used to say, no big whoop.
as far as I'm concerned, Chuck does mean luck. Because a year ago, our own Chuck Miller, Building Grounds Department Director, reached out and called me and said, Sharon, you got to look at this building. I think we found a location for the future of the mental health department. He was right, and not only do we have the local Chuck support, we got a federal Chuck support. This is just amazing support for our community. The legacy of both this building goes back a century. The legacy of the Department of Mental Health here in Cortland goes back 50 years. Merging these two legacies both honors and respects the base of our past, but also helps us move forward to a really positive future for our community. This merge into this building for our department is life-changing, not just for the services we offer, but because our department is the heart of the behavioral health community. It's not just about our department. This building will allow us to offer support to our full non-for-profit community of all the behavioral health care here in Cortland. And we partner so closely with federal, state, and regional efforts. We're so thankful for this opportunity. Honest to God, when I first applied for this funding stream, I never thought it was going to make it this far. The fact that it's gotten this far, so much support from both city, county, and now federal support, and we're so close to making that extra effort. Having that federal financial support is so meaningful. It's everything to help move this forward. And recognizing a small community like Cortland is so important. Cortland is such a caring, loving community. I think everyone who is here today knows that. Cortland cares. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon.
For caring about Cortland.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Really
Josh, do you have any other? The mayor, do you want to say something?
Yeah, just real quick.
Please.
I really appreciate it.
And
Chuck
assembly
Miller's
member.
here somewhere. Our mental health. There's Chuck over there. He's got the vision.
Hi, Chuck.
And he's gonna dig it. He's gonna dig
You
it out.
get called a lot of names when you were a little kid, too.
But he's going to be a great asset for it. We have mental health providers here that certainly can
Thank
use
you.
the help and appreciate that help as well. But we really appreciate.
And can I say something, Mayor? Go ahead. Another thing that we should know that I should have said here. Well, we passed a bipartisan bill, you know, after the tragedy in Buffalo, to make sure that 18-year-olds couldn't, when they turned 18, just go into a store and buy an assault weapon. They'd be checked out first, so they were okay. But we put in that bill $14 billion for mental health services that local organizations can apply directly for. They haven't written the regulations yet, but this is great, and you won't have to go through a big bureaucracy. You're trying to get rid of all these bureaucracies and get directly locality. So we'll make sure that Josh and Emily get you the information when they publish the regulations. I apologize,
Yeah, no,
Mayor,
that's
but I
fine.
forgot about that.
And that's a huge need in our community, as well as it's a great historic building that we're going to be able to get back on the, occupancy and have the lights lit up. It's going going to be great. We really appreciate that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sharon, good luck and thank you as well.
Right.
Thank you.
And she's right. Sharon's right. This is really, in all the years I've been coming here since, I became senator in 1999, and it's really a caring community. It really is. And I visit every county. I get to see them all. So
This is a huge impact.
thank you. And we have a great assembly member who cares about these issues, who is always helpful, Anna Kellis. Great. From the 125th Assembly District.
Absolutely. Tompkins and Portland, both beautiful counties, and it's so wonderful to be here. I actually spent all day yesterday, the days are flowing into each other at this point, but a day-long legislative briefing on mental health in higher education. This is a college town, one of the SUNY system schools, SUNY Portland, a really important, wonderful school. And what we were hearing, student after student, faculty after faculty, is this massive increase in mental health issues across higher education, but across K through 12 as well. So it's important that we understand this is a crisis. This is a pandemic. This is not happening just here. It's happening across the state. It's happening across the country. It's happening across the world. So the focus that you are putting on mental health, I can't thank you enough. It is so important. And the passion that this county and the city has had to get this going, to make this happen, everybody just step back and watch. It's been exceptionally amazing. Led by Sharon, you are such a firebrand. This is amazing. But it will be for all ages, and it will be a process forward to take away the stigma that has I think, dogged mental health and mental health care for too many decades. COVID, of course, has made the mental health crisis even worse, with financial instability, housing instability, food insecurity, social isolation. So this could not be more timely to help us come out of this pandemic strong in this county. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, everyone.
Great. Okay. So I think we don't have any others. Anyone else want to say something quickly? It's cold, so. Okay, so questions from the media. First, we'll do it on this subject.
Can anyone explain just first where the building is now, where mental health services and behavioral health services are run out of, and then when is this supposed to be, hopefully, doors open, people here?
Correct. We lease a really small location that we've really outgrown. We're kind of crowded in there. It's on a small little one-way street, hardly any parking. We've been leasing that location, so moving to a county-owned building really is a tax saver for our community. It really helps to reduce our costs and everything. This really almost doubles the space, and it makes it so much more affordable. The building's already been purchased, renovation plans are already in process, and we're hopeful within the next 2 years to get this renovated and move forward. This financial help needs everything to make that successful.
And you don't have access to broadband or reliable broadband in that building?
It's pretty limited. This building location will be accessible for full fiber optics, so that technology makes it so much more effective.
Telehealth, you want to have a really direct, upfront discussion and with counseling and all of that. So if you have broadband that is not very good, it doesn't really work.
And in a rural county like this one, people have to be able to get the resources from wherever they are.
Exactly, and this location makes it efficient, so that if someone needs to come in person, we have a welcoming, larger therapeutic environment with really safe parking. But if they are preferable, or if it's easier for them for telehealth, now we would have the broadband access with fiber optic lines to make that more successful.
Can you talk about any of the challenges, I guess, just in a rural county that you've seen just through your work with patients, and mental health struggles happen to anyone. It doesn't matter where you are, who you are.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, mental health is part of healthcare, right? I think more and more we're respecting that moving forward. We partner with our health department. We partner with so many, medical and healthcare and behavioral healthcare across our community. Since the pandemic, we certainly see that rising with every age group. So, responding to that need by moving to a better facility that's more welcoming, therapeutic, but honors kind of the full needs of
mental health issues they have for decades. But they used to be stigmatized and afraid to even come forward and ask for help. But we want to help people who have mental health problems. They're good, their family's good, but the good of society and communities as well. So there's no stigma anymore, and we want to help. And we urge people who have mental health problems or have someone in their family to come forward and ask for that help. There's nothing wrong with that.
Sharon, just a question. It seems like you guys are managing right now with what resources that you have available, not having this facility done yet. But what's your message maybe to the Cortland County neighbors who need to seek help, who want to seek help, but you're here for them?
Yeah.
For the interim, until this hopefully comes through.
Yeah, and our department doesn't do it alone. The mental health department is only one part of our behavioral health system here in Cortland. There's at least 25 different agencies, many of whom are here today representing that support. We're just one part of that larger support to our community. Adapting to the needs is really important. I think if there's any way anyone seeking help can reach out, anything from the statewide initiative and the federal initiative for 988 for crisis line outreach, to looking up your 211, to reaching out to your community mental health department if you're looking for services, website, telehealth. There's so many opportunities now. Don't give up. Call and give it a chance.
Good. Glad we said all that. Okay. Other questions?
I guess one question I
Yes,
had.
go ahead. You're second.
Okay.
This facility is going to be what part of the equation? I know that there are mental health providers in the county that are having problems finding providers, finding
Right.
staff.
So,
how do we address that?
yes, there is $14 billion that was put in this recent bill. There was a gun safety bill and a mental health bill. For the first time, that is like quadrupling the amount of money the federal government has put in. But the good news here is that the local community groups, the mental health provider groups, can apply directly for those funds. And they're flexible because different groups have different kinds of needs. So I'm very pleased with this. The regulations will come out how you apply in the spring, and we're going to help mental health groups across New York State learn about them and apply for them. And that'll be a second help, even when it's not done by a county or a local government, that can get some real help. It's very important, and I'm glad you asked that question. Yes, ma'am.
My question was for Sharon. So Sharon again, sorry. Just
Sharon,
for
you're more popular than me.
just for clarification for those who are going to be watching this tonight, that live outside of Cortland, when this facility does open, will people outside of the area, other places in the southern tier, be able to come here and just receive services?
Well, Cortland County Mental Health Department really focuses, we're public servants to Cortland County. So that really is our focus, but we're always part of the larger regional efforts that are going on, and we really help to represent regional needs as well. A lot of the agencies that we support, from family counseling to Catholic Charities to so many others, are really part of large regional efforts in our community, and we help to support that kind of leadership oversight and just to kind of try to pull down any kind of funding or other supports that we can have, and moving forward toward more modern stuff, whether it's telehealth rollout or some of the state and federal initiatives for behavioral health care. It's more of a county specific for what we would do here, but we would be a kind of the heart of the community for supporting those larger regional goals.
And there will be, for the whole southern tier, this kind of money will be eligible. The counties will be eligible, localities will be eligible, and community groups will be eligible for funding like this across the entire southern tier area. And central New York. We're in central New York. You're from Binghamton.
Stay connected. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.